What an absolutely beautiful day today. I got a spinny chair. And we have Gary on. Full-time Gary. You doing the whole show today?
Oh yeah.
There we go. Ratings. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 86 of the Essential Wrestling Podcast. And as I was just saying before, we can go back and start doing WrestleManias again. Didn't think of it last week. We played tribute to the 85 Bears. I forget who they beat in the Super Bowl. It's irrelevant. But episode 86, this is our WrestleMania 2. This is our too big for just one arena WrestleMania, I guess. Right? The fun thing is, actually, it's not even fun at all. If you go through the Nassau Coliseum, like in the underbelly, they have like all the old concerts, like, Kiss from 1977 and Billy Joel from whenever and Mike Tyson knocking out somebody in 19. Nothing from WrestleMania 2. And it is just so heart-wrenching walking around trying to find Randy Savage because he was the main event, I think, of WrestleMania 2 at the Coliseum. Actually, no, it was Piper and Mr. T. Can't even find any of that. Anyway, I digress. We're going 4 strong all episode today because it is our end of the year awards episode. So screw it. Let's just get everybody on board. And we're going to start with the man I just previously mentioned before in the cold open, our senior NXT UK correspondent, Gary Mehaffy. Gary, top of the evening to you, my body.
Good evening, gents. Good to be here.
Always glad to have you. I know the ratings always seem to skyrocket when Ryan starts the show with you, so we're going to see what happens. And if the ratings don't jump, then obviously, it's me, and everybody just loves Ryan. On the bottom part of my screen, right below me, our first ever PWP champion, the living legend, John DeConnie. John, how are things today?
It's a lovely, chilly day here in Jersey. We're talking wrestling. It's all good.
It's always good. And, of course, always next to him, Mike Veda's cousin, John Smith. John, how are things in your neck of the woods this evening?
Well, considering 3 of my 4 fantasy teams are in championship games this week, things are going pretty good. Two of them named Andre the Giant, actually.
There you go. We will circle back to that. We actually have a fun little football segment at the end of our show today. I'll get to that in a moment. On today's episode, yes, I know. Apparently, for those of you who are trying to tune in on the Eastern Observer Facebook page, we're not there. Hopefully, you guys find the way. By the way, we are on a new platform to go along with Zingo Channel 98. I believe we're on to go along with Spotify and iHeartRadio and all that fun stuff you see on our things. Odyssey apparently is now carrying the Essential Wrestling Podcast. So please, all of you Odyssey subscribers, please go and search the Essential Wrestling Podcast, and we'll find our library there. If not now, eventually, all 85 of the past classic episodes. We have a comment chiming in. Hopefully it's James. James, Merry Christmas, buddy. My Christmas was great. From the sound of what we were talking about pre-production, everybody else had a wonderful Merry Christmas as well. Everybody's safe. Everybody's sound. On today's episode, we have a new TNT champion in AEW.
I'm out.
We have 3 championship matches for 4 titles set up for NXT New Year's Evil next Tuesday. That was all set up last week on NXT. We'll get into that. Gary Mehaffy, as you know, he is here to normally discuss NXT UK. We are on they're on the 2-week break. We had an award show last week, Gary.
Yeah.
Right?
Just sort of a look back at a few big moments they had last week. So it was just.
Yeah, Nina Samuels hosted a highlight show or something like that, right? Yeah. Ryan Joy is on assignment this week. He is off vacationing with his beautiful bride, Maggie May. I do have Ryan's awards with us and his picks for day 1. Maggie for whatever reason, didn't want to send her picks in. I don't know. I guess she just doesn't want to spoil it for everybody else, considering she's kicking all of our asses hard in the WWE standings. We make our picks for this week's show, upcoming shows, presented by Minutes to Bell Time and sponsored by ProWrestlingPick'em.com. Play against your friends. Play against the universe. And guys, she'll like it too. We are going to main event the show with making our picks for day one, or what potentially was supposed to be day one. I guess we can dabble in that for a second, I guess, with the COVID scares. And then I said at the end of the show, the boss of the Eastern Observer, the host of the Primetime Rundown, Joseph Kennedy Jarzenka, will be joining us to talk some football. He will be there at the end of the show. We are going to curtain jerk the show with the 2021 Essential Wrestling Podcast Awards. This was a fun time. I actually watched our episode from last year. Little bit of a buzzkill at the beginning of it because unfortunately we just came across the 1 year anniversary of the passing of John Huber, aka Brody Lee, aka Luke Harper, and that was a tough thing to watch. But we eventually got into awards. We each our own correspondents for our specific brands. Ryan does AEW, Gary with the UK, John with NXT, John DeConnie with Impact. I'm going to take all of WWE, and it's going to be simple. We have our own awards for our own specific brands, and we're just going to rattle them off like this. Like, I am going to officially give my first Karl with a K award for the winner of the Wednesday Night War, the National Hockey League. Not only did they bounce NXT to a different night, they bounced TNT, which I'm sure had some type of we're TNT, we're home, or whatever. Now you got bounced off that network too. You're on TBS where all the comedy is, right? Because it's a freaking joke show, right? As some people would say. I believe the Yankees played some baseball on TBS too. I think very funny was their tagline at the point. But going a little more serious. So I am going to be WWE specific. I believe I did Raw last year. Tyler did SmackDown. Tyler is unable to be with us due to work. So I'm just going to tackle WWE as a whole. Male Wrestler of the Year. It's about goddamn time. Bobby Lashley absolutely tore it up this year. Won the WWE Championship right after, I believe, the Elimination Chamber. And then he walked into WrestleMania as champion, something very few wrestlers do, walk out as WWE's champion as a heel. Bobby Lashley, thank frickin' God, absolutely just completely tore it up this year. Happy to give that to him. And the same thing, the female after the year, I think it has to be Bianca Belair. Main event of WrestleMania night one. I know it wasn't the end of the overall show, but it was a night. It was a whatever. They counted. I'll count it too. But she shined. She didn't even get the just due in NXT. She got, Shayna Baszler whooped her ass. Rhea Ripley whooped her ass. Asuka whooped, she just kept on getting killed. And I believe one of the main events, I think Justin Roberts, who's the guy with the fro? Not Justin Roberts, but the guy that does all the pre-shows for NXT.
Sam Roberts.
Sam Roberts killed her one time, saying she doesn't belong here. She's this, that, and the other. So she turned everything around, ended up main eventing and winning the SmackDown Women's Championship at main event at WrestleMania. So good for her. Tag Team of the Year. This one, I think, was just decided for me about 2 weeks ago when they had a triple threat tag team match, and the winner was the best team in WWE. So might as well just, why not? There's really nothing. As we all know, the biggest male moment of the year for WWE, a moment that just near and dear to my heart, something that I waited just about 10 years for it to happen again. And that was The Miz winning the WWE Championship, becoming the first ever two-time Grand Slam winner. Absolutely wonderful night. It was an it's going to get worse because my favorite female moment of the year, again, something that I've been waiting a very long time for and was very short-lived, and that was Eva Marie's return to WWE. I loved every moment of it. If you just understood who her character was and what her character is supposed to do, you'd appreciate her more. The fact that she can't wrestle makes her that much better. It's hysterical. Watch everybody flip out every time she's on TV. Let's say a fun moment for me. Again, actually, the funny thing is, the more and more I think about it, this might be short-lived too. Comeback of the year. Probably, the overall, not male moment feel, but just the overall moment of the year, I want to say, was when the fans came back at WrestleMania. Ryan Joy was there with Maggie May. It was just great to see an audience again. As much as I love the Thunderdome, I feel like we're headed back that way, though. And I feel like, is somebody going to clean up the Nickelodeon mess in the Prudential Center so we can have WrestleMania there in case we need to? Like, is this really? Very special award for me. The We Miss You, the Ding Dong, hello, We Miss You award. I can't wait till she comes back. I miss her every goddamn Friday night. Not to step on anybody else's toes real quick, but just 3 awards I have to give out, even though they're out of my jurisdiction. Just the overall professional wrestling female of the rest of the year, Deonna Purrazzo. TV episode of the year goes to Wrestle House 2 on Thanksgiving night, and the pay-per-view of the year goes to Winter War 84. Nothing has amazing what Impact has done over the past year. John LeConnie, I think I said this last year too. I'm extremely jealous you get to give out those awards. Going back to WWE, match of the year candidate, I believe, Gary, you said you saw it online too. I believe Fox named Seth Rollins versus Edge inside the steel cage at Crown Jewel as the match of the year. I'm going to give it to the main event of WrestleMania. They usually give me Edge stacking Edge and Daniel Bryan on top of each other for the win and the heel victory at WrestleMania. Absolutely dominant performance by Roman Reigns. I'm going to keep rolling with Roman Reigns right here. Best feud of the year. John DeConnie, I just itch for this every time I'm making a WrestleMania card. At the top of my list is John Cena versus Roman Reigns. And I love this. I love the fact that Cena was threatening to leave the company with the championship, that he wasn't going to stick around. I believe this time around, Cena was John Cena, which was great, but Roman was a lot better and more comfortable on the microphone. So Roman was getting his jabs in too, and I just thought that was a lot of fun. Great main event at SummerSlam. MVP, this guy is going to be carrying this company for a while. I don't think anyone has a problem with it. As long as he's the head of the table and just being a D-hole and just acknowledge me, and it's just absolutely great. We've been clamoring for Roman Reigns as a heel for God knows how long. We finally get it, and we're appreciating it, and I just thank God. My last award, get your middle fingers ready, everybody. The most hated award, the Karl the K. You know what, Nick Khan? Blow it out your ass, Nick Khan. You thought I was going Meltzer there, didn't you? You thought I was going to go Meltzer there? No, somebody actually surpassed Meltzer on my freaking list. Stupid Nick Khan. And they're going to give it to him over Hunter. Just the whole thing just frustrates the hell out of me. Anyway, so those are the Karl and the K Awards. I don't think I have any repeat winners. I do believe Tyler did give Roman Reigns the male athlete of the year last year. Yes, he did. So, Roman Reigns, two-time wrestler of the year of WWE as far as we are concerned. But we are going to turn it over now. I believe I've talked enough. We do have a comment. I believe maybe James Wheeler's commenting on some of the – yeah. Hands up if you watched the Christmas Story before Rampage. There you go. Well, the reason why Rampage was on Saturday night was because of the Christmas Story, 24 hours on TMZ. John DeConnie, again, jealousy over in this area. You are the senior Impact correspondent. I do expect a lot of Wrestle House and Wrestle War 84, Winter War 84 awards to be given out.
Well, you might be a little bit upset, but I'm gonna start off with some of the categories that Impact themselves are running down. They already announced 3 of them last week on their wrap-up show. There's going to be a part 2 this week with another 3, and then there'll be a couple that I sprinkled in there, made up myself. So let's start things off with the Tag Team of the Year, which, according to fan voting on ImpactWrestling.com, went to the Good Brothers. And it's hard to make an argument there. They did hold the belts for over 200 days out of the year. But I have decided to go a little bit against that and give it to FinJuice, because any team that uses the Doomsday Device, the Acid Drop, and the previously unnamed Demolition Decapitation as part of their tag team finisher, that's just good squishy to me.
It was called What a Maneuver. It was called What a Maneuver. It wasn't the Demolition Decapitation. What a maneuver! And that was it. The match over.
I just had to find a way to fit that in there just so that you could give me that rant. So thank you.
It was the WrestleMania 6 special. I kind of went off on Ryan because he called it. I'm like, who the hell are you to give that move a name?
Every time I type it into my notes, I giggle to myself thinking about what you would say. Okay, number 2, the Knockouts match of the year. I cannot argue with the way things were voted on ImpactWrestling.com, and I don't think there's much of an argument to be made. Mickie James versus Deanna at Bound for Glory. Did not see that ending coming, but it was fantastic all the way through. Congratulations, ladies. That leads us to the knockout, specifically of the year. And as Al has already run down in his awards, and as I named last year and again this year, the first ever 2-time DeConti Trophy winner, Miss Deanna Purrazzo, knockout of the year. Moving along to the Knockouts Tag Team division. And the Knockouts Tag Team of the year. There hasn't been a whole ton of juice in this division. There's been a lot of teams that I've been very excited about, including the current champions, the Inspiration. But I think the team that performed the most and put on the most good shows, and as much as I hated them when they were doing it, because there was a team they were feuding with that I really was rooting for, they just couldn't seem to get the job done for any extended period of time. The Knockouts Tag Team of the Year goes to Fire and Flavor.
Yeah, I spy a Jersey girl.
Moving along, the men's match of the year. I know a lot of stars went the Kenny Omega way for the time that he was performing under the Impact banner and he was the champion. But as far as I'm concerned, the match of the year, which wasn't even on Impact Wrestling, it wasn't on a pay-per-view or an Impact Plus Saturday special. You had to tune into BTI to get the first 60 minutes of this. Josh Alexander and TJP, not only they put on a fantastic match, but the way they timed out the ending so perfectly for it to go into overtime and to go over into Impact Wrestling, it was fantastic start to finish. Moving along, the male wrestler of the year. For the second year in a row, it goes to a mostly X Division competitor. This year it was Josh Alexander, who spent most of the year in the X Division before his brief run to the top of the world title picture.
Do you want to let us remember? I smiled so big. Your last year's male wrestler of the year. Do you remember who you gave it to?
I made sure I remembered who I gave it to. Rohit Raju.
Rohit Raju. There you go. Little upset he's not a 2-timer, but Josh, he's earned it.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, Josh was part of last year's tag team of the year for the North. Okay, so those are the 6 that Impact Wrestling itself is awarding for the year-end awards to. These next 4 are just my own ridiculousness. So the Holy Bleep moment of the year, I will give to, they are now 2-timers already just in this year, Finjuice for drawing first blood, coming through the forbidden door, and taking the Impact Tag titles back to Japan.
Yeah, that was crazy.
The next one, we have another 2-timer just in this year, the Trainwreck moment of the year, which I know it was they kind of were doing it on purpose because it was the Fire and Flava Fest, and they were making fun of the Fire Festival and how terrible that turned out. But it wound up being one of those moments where you realize those 2 women were fantastic backstage, making fun of people and in really short doses. And then you put them out there for like a 10+ minute segment, and God love them, it was like Alexa Bliss and Bailey, This Is Your Life. It was terrible. Okay.
But it was on purpose, though. That's the best part. They simply didn't try. Like
it was, but then it was like the setup with the bad catering and everything was supposedly done on purpose. But then when they started talking, you realize they ran out of material very quickly. All right, moving along, our penultimate award for Impact this year is the heel / straight up D-bag moment of the year. That will go to another person, not even on the Impact roster. That goes to MJF in his birthday greeting for Tommy Dreamer's 50th. Wishing Dreamer a happy birthday, and we can't wait to see you croak in the ring. And
sounds like MJF.
Our last award for Impact this year will be the same that we closed last year with. It's the ha-ha moment of the year. And good Lord, there are so many of them in Impact. Which one do I choose? There's a half dozen right off the top of my head, but I had to go with my first gut instinct and go back to the one that even scratched the needle off the record as it played out in front of us. Fallah Bahh had just busted out at Swingers Palace, which was a very new thing at the time. They were kicking Fallah Bahh out of Swingers Palace. Alicia Edwards says, "Come on, Johnny Swinger, don't you have a heart? Fallah Bahh is hurting." And Swinger's response, "Hurting? You don't know hurting till you caught crabs from Bob Seger's ex-girlfriend," which led to Chris Sabin's line of, "I effing love this place." And the legend of Swingers Palace was born. So here's to you,
Johnny
Swinger.
Swinger's on he got the ha-ha. It was the wrestlers' court. It was the people versus Johnny Swinger.
It was Wrestle Court. Yeah, it was Wrestle Court overall. So yeah.
The people versus Johnny Swinger. Why are you running that phrase? Specifically, Daddy. So that brings in our year for Impact Wrestling. Going up to the top corner, Gary Mehaffy, NXT UK correspondent. You got a couple two-timers as well here. You went back-to-back on a couple of records. I'm not sure if you remember last year's awards or not. I know you had some cases with all your Garys in them.
Yeah, I was looking back to see sort of who had done last year, and I have some different awards from this year as well. But when I looked, there was actually one of my two-time awards I was surprised won last year in hindsight. But however, which was my Wrestler of the Year, because I didn't think I looked back afterwards and thought, I did pick them. But yeah, I have a few sort of serious and inverted commas awards and a few not so much. And I think I'll actually just go through, actually in the order I actually sent them to you. The Male Wrestler of the Year, I toyed with giving it to a kid, and even though he hadn't held anything, well, he'd been the Heritage Cup, but he hadn't had the big title or whatever. But I just couldn't see anybody other than Ilya Dragunov being Male Wrestler of the Year. He had more matches, and I know that Walter had been champion through until the middle of August. But for Ilya, with the matches that he'd had and the quality that he'd had, and the way that even throughout the year, a lot of the storyline was, when will he get the title? Will he get back to it? Will he get back to it? So because of that, because he'd been central to everything, I thought we'd go with him. Female Wrestler of the Year to me was easy and then almost wasn't, because obviously for half a year, Kaylee Ray had been the woman. And then she lost the title and moved across to NXT main roster. So, however, because of that, if I didn't count her, there could be nobody else other than Mako Satomura, who was the Female Wrestler of the Year. She was carrying some not so good wrestlers to decent matches, but she was just the focal point. I do think she'll lose the title soon, and we've had this discussion. I do think Blair Davenport will beat her. But as far as 2021 goes, she gets the Gary for Female Wrestler of the Year.
Yeah, I think Blair Davenport's going to be making early submission for Female Wrestler of the Year for 2022.
Definitely should be. Tag Team of the Year broke my heart. To have to say that,
why? We laugh about these guys all year long. Why would this break your heart?
It breaks because I don't want to like them. I don't want to admit that Pretty Deadly are the Tag Team of the Year, but they are. I know I've said sometimes their matches at the start, it's like walking through trickle. They take a little bit of time during a match to get wound up, to get going. But they've had good matches against a real wide variety of opponents. And you can't argue the fact that, they were tag team champions for almost 10 months. And so, that all things considered, you can't see past them. And again, before we go off into slightly random awards, the match of the year, this is my other 2-time award.
Yeah, what are the odds of this? Like this, I was shocked. I'm like, wait a minute, that's right. They fought 2 different years.
Yeah. Ilya Dragunov and Walter at TakeOver 36. I think it came 5th in that WWE poll list this year.
Yeah, somewhere in there, yeah.
But like how you just watch that match and you go, these 2 guys, they are 2 pros at the very top of their game. Just absolutely super. I did think that Vince was going to want to take them both across. I still think he might. But,
yeah, so let's just go back to that list. Okay, so this match was 5th, which gives it a little less credibility because that list had Bad Bunny at WrestleMania at number 10. So that list is just crap to begin. I didn't even look at the. Actually, I did look at the.
I know exactly because it should have been top 3.
Yeah, that's.
But yeah, no. Walter and Dragunov just was absolutely amazing. Potentially one of the best matches anywhere all year, let alone WWE. Yeah, we'll veer off into not so serious for a couple before we go back to one that sort of is the Rookie of the Year or the Gary Man Crush Award for 2021. Obviously goes to Charlie Dempsey. Has to be. I'm sorry. Every time he's on TV, I'm just like, oh yes, he's back. He's here. It does my heart good every time he appears on screen. I will happily. I see him come. I just think he's been amazing. He's been a breath of fresh air. Completely different style. Stands out. I don't think he'll be here too long, mind you. I think he'll get a few months and he'll get an opportunity because of who he is, obviously. Because of being Regal's son, but just absolutely brilliant. Just love him. And again, the next award. This was my only. Well, you could argue the Man Crush Award was a selfish choice for me. This next one is my absolute selfish choice, and I don't care who says what. I don't care who chimes in, whoever messages in, texts in. I don't care. This is the Bryan Danielson / Yes Award of something that happened that I just sat in my living room and went yes, which was when Myla Grace appeared on NXT UK. I know she lost. I know she only had 1 match. I don't care. She's from Belfast. I've seen her from literally her first match. We would be in touch regularly enough, and she's brilliant, a lovely girl, is a good wrestler, will get chances to broaden her horizons. I've noticed she's, I think, wrestling in Finland actually soon enough as well. And she really is starting to get a look in places, and it just did my heart good. I saw her and thought it shows that people can, if they put the dedication in, you'll get the chance. So that for me was my pure selfish choice. In saying that, and this one shocked me because as I was typing up this winner, I thought I knew I thought this person was going to win their own award, and they don't. Spoiler alert. But the Ginny Award, also known as Why Are You On My TV? Which Ginny generally has been, is not. Ginny didn't win for a pleasant change. Actually, Saxon Huxley has won it. Because I don't get it. And maybe I'm just too old. I just don't get it. There's, in this day and age, a faux berserker / whatever way we want to put it. I just don't understand it anymore. I know, Al, you've called him like the walking Muppet, and I'm going.
Yeah, he's the Muppet monster. He's the giant Muppet monster. I've shown pictures, the comparison of it. I shouldn't have pulled it up.
Literally over here, like if in Northern Ireland, if you call somebody a Muppet, is a colloquial word for being an idiot. And so actually that's very apt when you call him the walking Muppet, to be fair.
Yeah, it was Seamus calls people Muppets all the time. I know that's kind of a little bit of an insult there. I think, I don't get it at all. And every time I see him, I'm like, every time there's a round of cuts, it's not that I want anybody to lose their job, but I'm going, he's bound to this time. Oh no, he's not. Oh, he's bound to this time. No. So I'm surprised, but yeah, I just don't get it. And I was like, okay. Gary, I got a question for you because Ryan Joy isn't here.
Yeah.
Gary, where the F is Walter?
Yeah, well, we can thankfully say that he has won an award, although he's not here. He is the NXT UK Hide and Seek champion 2021, because he has had his match and then he's disappeared. He's gone into hiding, apart from one photograph with Jenny, ironically. Hopefully we'll see him soon. I know he's been across WXW, but he's been the missing man. I mean, he's like he may as well. I could have called it the Glenn Miller Award. He just disappeared and it's like kind of wherever he is. But he is someday he'll be back. Although he may be across the water with him before NXT UK. However, and the last award, this was not done just to butter Al up. By the way, to Johns, this was not. This is not an award. This is not an award to keep the boss on side. This is not what it is. However, the MVP of NXT UK, or the Midas Award, because truthfully, as far as I'm concerned, this year, everything he touches turned to gold, is Noam Dar. Whether it's a match, whether it's an ordinary match, a Heritage Cup match, a Supernova Sessions, you name it, a backstage skit, you name it, everything he does has just been fantastic. He really is. He's been the unsung hero, but he's been the glue that's kept it together all year. And while he hasn't got involved, I do think at some point he'll get an opportunity at one of the main titles. However, I was pleased to give him that award. So there we go.
I was pleased to create that guy. I'm glad you said. From day one when NXT UK came, me and you started coming, like, no, I'm Dar, no. I'm finally, he's gotten the not everybody wins again. So who does that? MVP? Did he have a Midas Award from last year? I don't think he did.
No, we didn't. No.
Yeah, right.
Especially created for Noam Dar.
So it was the smooth transition from overseas NXT to stateside. John Smith, I mean, we'll start with your awards. You got a few awards that you wanted to hand out, but I had a little special assignment for you. We'll get into that after your awards.
Yeah, so I couldn't go without giving out a few awards because, I still want my well, first off, the wrestlers of the year for the men, I'm still going with Karrion Kross. I don't care what happened on Raw. This is NXT. He was dominant. He came back from his injury, put Priest through the mat, and then went right after Balor, beat him twice. And then, he lost to Joe on his way up to the main roster, and then we'll just forget what the rest happened after that. But
that's a two-timer, right? He was the MVP from last year, too.
Absolutely. Yeah, he's a two-time Smitty Award, but unfortunately he can't be a three-time because Vince is kind of out of touch when it does come to some things. But I'm not going to go on the Vince McMahon hate train like everybody else does, because obviously there's a reason that we're still watching it 40 years after, So my female wrestler of the year is Dakota Kai. She's ramped up her character even more now that she's turned on Raquel, and this little like eye twitchy little crazy thing that she's got going on is a nice little addition to her character. So I'm giving it to her, and keep her in NXT as long as possible, please, because I don't want Vince getting his hands on her. Feud of the year, it's between a wrestler and somebody who wasn't even employed by WWE when it started, and that's Cameron Grimes versus Ted DiBiase. A little special mention to LA Knight for being part of the whole $1 million title situation. But everything that happened between Grimes and DiBiase was gold. Before DiBiase was even involved, it was gold. Ted DiBiase!
Damn you, Ted DiBiase!
It was what I looked forward to every week for a good 4 or 5 months, however long it took for that whole thing to start and finish.
Yeah, the amount of money he lost on the basketball thing that he was trying to mimic.
Yes. We've all seen this video. We watched this as kids. Oh, there goes my phone.
Hey, it's a Mario.
Put your phones on silent, guys. What are you, morons? And last but not least, my match of the year. Walter is a 2-time champion this year because Walter versus Tommaso Ciampa tore the roof off of Stand and Deliver. It exceeded all our expectations, even though we all expected it to be the match of Stand and Deliver, which was a 2-night event, by the way. Any match where a chop to the chest, put somebody down for the 3 count is all right in my book. And if you haven't seen this match, people, this is the match to go back to watch. Ciampa, I mean, he's done even better since then, but this is like peak Ciampa, and it's I guess average Walter, but average Walter is peak anybody else at this point.
Yeah, John Smith, just to let you know, I gave my pay-per-view of the year to Winter War '84, but I was telling him in pre-production. I guess you were off doing whatever you were doing. I probably seen Stand and Deliver about 3 times, like more than I've seen. I was specifically I want to watch Stand and Deliver again. Like that show was just as a whole, both days, 10 matches, just unbelievable. And yeah, that was match 3 of the 10. Like that was mid card of the first night, which was main evented by Raquel and Io. But like that was just incredible. But what the special assignment I had for John Smith, I was mulling life over on the train. I was bored on the train one night on my way home from Parts Unknown, which I am right now. And even out there, I'm out in Parts Unknown again. Alf took the trip with me because, as we know, Alf can't be trusted home alone with my cats. So I made I consider let's just not say the death of NXT Black and Gold brand, but it was reconfigured. We now have this new tie-dye, let's just put it that way, NXT 2.0. Takeover is officially done, so I kind of went back like, if I were to put together like an ultimate takeover card with all the takeover matches, only using people once, like, what would these matches be? And I'm like, you know what? These are pretty awesome, but I'm out of my jurisdiction here. I want John Smith to do this as well. So John Smith, this is, I guess, in remembrance of the NXT Black and Gold
Absolutely
takeover.
Yeah, so NXT is not dead. NXT is just in the next chapter. The way I see it, they've always brought in new people and got rid of people. New people got rid of people. So just because they changed the colors and you can see the walls in the background doesn't make it any different. All right.
Did you know that place had a ceiling? That was incredible. You see that? I didn't know that place had a ceiling.
All right, so I've booked a 2-night extravaganza. Night 1, we got the pre-show hosted by Candice and Indy because Candice is pregnant, of course. So, it's the 2 of them doing their thing. Maybe we'll get a little appearance by the way, all 4 of them together in the pre-show doing some comedy gold, which is an ode to like the last few months of NXT Black and Gold because that was a fairly recent thing. But so then the pre-show match, this one's especially for Al. It's Cassius Ohno versus Lars Sullivan with special guest referee NXT original first season Ryback. That one's just for Al. That's not really part of the card. Okay.
Puke emoji.
Puke emoji. Yeah, we haven't gotten a puke emoji in a while. So now we get the main card starts. We get our, Poppy, I'm sure, is playing something. And then we get Enzo and Big Cass out to warm up the crowd. No match, just getting everything going. A little bit of the most beautiful woman in WWE as well.
Can't teach that.
Cannot teach that. So I figured to start off this, just get it out of the way. Seth Rollins versus Big E, first 2 champions to ever hold that belt. So let's get that going, so then we can get Seth Rollins off of our screen. Because
remember the bleached hair, Seth Rollins.
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah, this was the first. Seth Rollins the first ever champion, and Big E was the guy. This match actually happened. I can only put up the matches, the graphics for the matches that actually happened. So. I guess John will get that. You have some dream matches in here too.
Yeah, so I did do some dream matches because you can't, have Adam Cole fight 5 different people on the same card, So
no, McAfee. No, he just fights McAfee. That's his match.
Well, McAfee is doing commentary on this show at Wade Barrett.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, maybe he'll get involved in Adam Cole's match later on. Who knows? After Rollins and Big E, we're going a throwback to Spin the Wheel, Make the Deal. Dexter Lumis versus Cameron Grimes. Cameron Grimes challenged him to this match. The wheel gets spun, and it's an I Quit match. So how the hell is Dexter going to lose this match? Because he's not going to go out and say I quit. So I think we all know what's happening there. Next, we got a dream match in, like, I guess you could say 3 different eras of the Black and Gold. We got Paige versus Nikki Cross versus Io Shirai.
Nice.
That would just be a knockdown, drag out. Obviously, it's no DQ because it's triple threat. So that would just be something I'd love to see.
Sanity Nikki.
Sanity Nikki. Of course, Sanity Nikki. Yeah, none of this ASH BS. So after that, next up we got Baron Corbin versus Elias. More so because I couldn't figure out what to do with either of them, and I think they could have a good match. You know, we get the promo by Elias beforehand. Walking to the ring with the guitar, pissing off Corbin. Maybe he's happy Corbin. Maybe he's balding, long-haired Corbin, whichever you guys prefer.
Yeah, Baron Corbin, or just let me cut you off, John. Baron Corbin was big back, and then I think he's definitely top 10, if not maybe I think he's like 6th or 7th in TakeOver wins history. Like, Baron Corbin ran roughshod over a lot of people in NXT before he got called up. He won the Andre Battle Royal as an NXT superstar. That was his call-up.
Yeah, I'm not sure he lost too many matches in NXT. I feel like he only lost to Samoa Joe, maybe. So after that, we got a special 2-on-1 handicap match. We could do this it's kind of like a battle of 2 countries. We got American Alpha versus Walter. And I think this is what's going to steal the show here, because to see Walter throwing the 2 of them around and what they can do to Walter as a duo would just be phenomenal. So for some reason, that was the first thing that popped in my mind when I saw American Alpha. I was like, I want to see them fight Walter, but it doesn't have to be with Imperium. It's just 2-on-1. And Walter wins this match anyway.
If they can find him.
Yeah. Next up, we got a ladder match. I don't know what's at the top of the ladder. I'm talking Judy Bagwell. So this is just a bunch of names thrown together, pretty much. But I think it would be a really good Money in the Bank style match. We got Austin Aries versus Rhino versus Rick Swan. That's Rick Swan, not Rich Swan. Santos Escobar, Kushida, Pete Dunne, LA Knight, Roderick Strong, and then I had to throw Ricochet on there too because I didn't want to leave him out. He is a former North American champion. Next up, I didn't really want Rhea Ripley on my card because I don't really like her, but she's significant to the history, and so is Nia Jax a little bit. So I got the 2 of them fighting each other. Rhea can have a nice win against the monster Nia Jax. The pre-main event match, we got a tornado tag between the Authors of Pain and the Wyatt family.
Oh.
That would be Brody Lee and what's his name? Eric Rowan.
Yeah, Rowan.
Eric Rowan.
Bludgeon Brothers.
Main event of night 1, we got the blood feud of Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens. Of course, this has to main event at least one of the nights. Does it need to be a no DQ? Does it need to be a cage match? Probably not. So I'm making it just a regular match. Night 2, we got a little flavor of 2.0 because our pre-show is being hosted by Andre Chase, which I think would just be hilarious. Just cursing people out and.
So the question is, I feel like this is like somebody's got to come out, like Big Show's got to come out and beat him up. I'm not saying Big Show because Big Show's never NXT, but like
right.
Somebody's got to come out and beat up the zombie on the first ever episode of ECW, like Sandman did.
I'll get back to you on that one.
All right, there you go.
Maybe it could be Keith Lee and Dominic Dijakovic before their match starts in the pre-show. They come out and interrupt him, and we get this classic because this is the only time T-Bar has ever had a really good feud was
T-Bar.
with Keith Lee.
This was a really good feud. Like the first 2 or 3 matches ended all in no contest. Like they couldn't beat each. Like I know you kind of talk trash about that with AEW now. Like that was a fun. I mean, they didn't draw it out for 60 minutes, but like they had a match and a double DQ and a match double count. Like it was actually kind of fun to see them because they weren't disappointing.
Yeah, and they were, rookies or whatever you want to call it, new guys at that time. And that's the feud that catapulted Keith Lee up to the main event right away.
Yeah.
Once he got involved with Adam Cole and gave him a body check into the 5th row of the audience, then everybody was on board. So then main card, first match, we got Bobby Roode versus Adam Cole. That's a dream match of mine. I'm not saying that's, Adam Cole's had way, better feuds in the past, but which one do you pick? So, no, I'd rather go with a dream match. And Bobby Roode was very glorious when it came to NXT.
Yeah, he was.
He was the one that took down Drew McIntyre, wasn't he?
That was Andrade.
Oh, no. Drew beat Bobby, I think. Never mind.
Yeah, I think Drew beat Bobby, and I think Bobby beat Nakamura.
Right. Okay. Excuse me. So then we got a steel cage match to finally end the feud once and for all. Raquel versus Dakota Kai. Just put a lid on that thing too. Don't let anybody involved in this thing. Make it a War Games match. They can put an extra ring in there. Who cares? Just get it the hell over with once and for all. Next, we got a tag team gauntlet match. The Revival, Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly, Imperium, Sanity, Borkin and Lurch.
Nice.
That's Oni Lorcan and Danny Burch, for those of you who haven't been following. Heavy Machinery, Legado del Fantasma, MSK, and I had to throw the Grizzled Young Veterans in there, even though they haven't had much success on the state side, but they are NXT UK tag team champions, and they had them for quite a long time too.
First ever, right?
First ever, yes. Next up, we got a fatal 4-way, and this one writes itself. Sasha versus Bayley versus Charlotte versus Becky Lynch.
Look at the babies! Oh, it looks so young back then.
Unreal that Sasha doesn't look anything like that now. Holy crap.
Sasha won that match, by the way. Just throwing that out there. That was the birth of my love for Sasha Banks, is when she won that match and then beat Becky the takeover after.
Charlotte looks like Michelle McCool in that picture. She almost looks good. Next up, we got 2 guys that Vince handled very poorly once they went up to the main roster, which is why I put them together, and also because the match would be freaking awesome. We got Karrion Kross versus Aleister Black.
Nice.
After that, we got a 3-way Neville versus Finn Balor versus Andrade, kind of like a 3 era thing like I did with the women on day 1. I love what Pac's doing now, and he was awesome as the cruiserweight champion on Raw. Yep. And he wasn't the mean old bastard that he is now, but either Neville is fine for me. Then of course we got Samoa Joe versus Nakamura. This one they traded the belt back and forth a few times. Joe lost it to Nakamura twice. He beat him before once. And, just they'll love to get a call back to this feud. Semi-main event of night 2. The 2 most dominant champions, gender non-specific, of NXT history. Asuka versus Shayna Baszler. Make it a submission match if you want. Make it whatever you want. But these 2 would go, 25, 30 minutes, and it would be awesome.
That match needs to be at WrestleMania. Like, that really does.
Yes, it does. And to top it all off, I'm sure you guys can figure out, since I haven't mentioned either of their names, in a Falls Count Anywhere match, we got Johnny Gargano versus Tommaso Ciampa. The 2 guys, like, if you were making a Mount Rushmore of NXT, both of these guys are on it. and then you get to debate on who the other two are, in my opinion. So they got to close the night out and send the black and gold brand out with a bang in a Falls Count Anywhere match.
Gargano, Ciampa, Adam Cole, Leon Ruff.
I was looking for Jordan Devlin somewhere in there, but
Jordan
I didn't.
Devlin.
Devlin. I didn't even leave him out on purpose.
Just racist. That's the Irish. That's what this.
All right, so so that's great. So as a kind of like, oh Jesus, kind of like a getting a little messy over here in parts unknown. As a tribute to the black and gold brand that we grew up and we loved. Like I said, the NXT's not dead. The next page is turned. The chapter is turned, and we're hoping that this new crop of talent can carry that torch, because that was if you listen to just all the names that John Smith rattled off, that's a tough act to follow. So. Tony D'Angelo's got his work cut out for him. Ryan Joy, like I said, he's on vacation. He's doing whatever he's doing. I don't even know where he is right now. None of my business. But he did send me his AEW awards. Some of these aren't going to be a shock to anybody. Male Wrestler of the Year, Kenny Omega. I believe he did set the all-time record for most stars accumulated in 1 year. I believe he's up to 533 in the 4 matches he had. So, female wrestler of the year, again, the no-brainer. It's Dr. Britt Baker. She actually replaced MJF as one of the pillars of AEW, so that makes complete sense. Tag team of the year, always a debatable topic in AEW. Just so many great freaking tag teams. Ryan went chalk, though. He went with the Young Bucks. I like the maybe an explanation for that. I guess a new award. I guess it's going to be a tradition going forward. Most valuable pickup. I guess most valuable future. I believe John DeCon, you did something last year, right? Most valuable future endeavored superstar. You gave it to Eric Young. Ryan Joy for AEW. He gave it to Bryan Danielson. Most valuable transaction. Most valuable. He used the word pickup, but I guess future endeavor. Greatest moment of AEW, I guess the moment everyone been waiting for 7 years, and I guess the pop and the reaction and the goosebumps, even I got them. That didn't disappoint. One Curtis Maxwell Punk returning to professional wrestling after a 7-year layoff.
I still never seen that.
No, he didn't see it. It was a pop.
I thought for sure.
Ryan Joy, his rising star. I guess the person I believe. See, I want to give him a little bit of credit because he kind of hit the nail right on the head with his one to watch in 2021 that he gave out last year. He gave it to Hangman Adam Page, which is okay, whatever. But the fact that he called in that award that he gave out to Hangman Page. He said, look for Page to take the title away from Kenny Omega somewhere in the 3rd quarter, which was exactly what happened. So shout out to Ryan Joy. Nailed it on that one. So we'll give him a little bit of a credit, a little bit of a stake in this. His rising star, I guess his one to watch for 2022. And God, I hope he's right, because I would love to see Malachi Black just kick the head off of everybody on that roster, and doing it with, like I said, an injured eye that he's still selling from Buddy Murphy. And Ryan has one more award, and this probably is going to be the easiest transition of all time as we transition from the award ceremony to AEW Rampage. Ryan with a buzzer beater on one of his awards. The joy for AEW for 2021, most questionable booking decision of the year goes to Cody Rhodes winning the TNT Championship for the 3rd time this past Saturday night on Christmas night on AEW Rampage, defeating Sammy Guevara. John DeConnie, what do you got for us?
Well, first, I would just like to point out that last week when we were picking that match, when it went around to John Smith, if we all had catchphrases on this show, John Smith's catchphrase would be, well, Cody's booking it, right? So Cody's winning. Even John Smith last week scoffed at the idea and stopped himself from picking Cody Rhodes and went with Sammy retaining. Well, folks, that's not exactly how it played out. Cody would kick out of the go to hell. Sammy would go for the 630 senton, and Cody gets the knees up. Cody hits a crossroads, and he holds on, hits a second crossroads, and he holds on again, and he hits a tiger driver for the 1-2-3 at 15 minutes and 42 seconds, and new TNT champion, 3-time Cody Rhodes. And David
I don't get this. Was this a Brody Lee thing? Like, is this a Brody thing that I'm just not seeing, that nobody's seeing? The internet's in an uproar, and I like the heat he's getting. I think this is actually working in his favor, because I feel like he's being Roman Reigns when Roman Reigns was a face. Everyone just hates him and boos him, yet Roman Reigns was just winning title after title. So I think it's kind of funny, actually.
I think it's for the
James Wheeler's calling for one of the men of the year. Like I said, Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page, one of those two guys, they're in the mix of all this. Or he's calling Hook. If Hook can beat Cody this early in Hook's, that would be pretty crazy. Hook actually, he's the next right on the list. Hook defeated Bear Bronson via submission. Hook hit some suplexes on the big man. So that was pretty impressive. Jungle Boy defeated Isaiah Cassidy with the snare trap, and then Chris Statlander also defeated that's my Jersey girl, Layla Hirsch, who has not been doing well, and she was left out of that TBS tournament. She was my pick to win the whole thing. She wasn't even entered in it. With a Spider Crab submission, Layla's starting to get frustrated, as am I, as she slapped away the post-match handshake respect offering from Chris Statlander. So hopefully maybe we get a heel version, put her in Team Taz. It's just a thought. Like, that would be good for her. Switching gears from Rampage to Dynamite, John DeConnie, it's actually kind of funny because I'm doing my notes as I'm going along for this, what I thought was a handicap match. I have CM Punk and Sting defeated the Pinnacle after Punk hit the GTS on Dax, followed by the Scorpion Death Drop, followed by the Coffin Drop. Oh, yeah, Darby was in this match, too.
Yeah, and it goes with the whole setup. They come out to start this match. CM Punk has Sting's face paint on. He's wearing tights that, even though they're in the Chicago flag colors, they've got a scorpion on them. Sting comes out. He's wearing a Punk T-shirt. He's got, in his face paint, he's incorporated the lightning bolts in the fists. And then Darby comes out, and his face is painted half purple. I'm not exactly. Sure. Come on along, son. Good for you. So the crowd popped. Greensboro, of course, loves Sting and all the history that is involved there. And Sting, this match was more about Punk and MJF. They put out a T-shirt. They put out a poster of the three of them, and quite frankly, Darby is a little bit forgettable in that mix. But most of this match was about MJF avoiding Punk, even to the point where at one point, as the legal man, as the two legal men, he left the ring, jumped the barricade, ran up a flight of stairs, disappeared onto the concourse, ran down another flight of stairs with Punk in pursuit. They eventually made it back into the ring. Somehow they were not counted out. And then, as you said, Dax would take the bullet for MJF, and even though I'm pretty sure he was not the legal man at the time, he would step into the line of fire, take the GTS, Scorpion Death Drop, Coffin Drop, and then Punk would make the cover for the win, and MJF would run away once again up to the announce desk, where he claimed that Punk was running from him like a coward the whole time, clearly concussed from his suicide dive during the match where he landed on his head on the concrete.
Yeah. Tony Schiavone did an in-ring interview with Hangman Page. Page was disappointed with the 60-minute draw, as we all were. So cue Bryan Danielson telling Page he's a crybaby, doesn't want excuses, so on January 5th, he proposes judges just in case this goes 60 minutes again. Okay.
No.
Serena Deeb, she's pretty pissed, actually. Serena Deeb is pissed. She's not letting this feud with Sheeta go. Fine, 3 out of 5. I'm cool with that. Malachi Black is that was the one to watch for 2022. Defeated Griff Garrison with a single leg crab. And then the Black Mass, I'm not sure if they didn't change that name yet, to Brian Pillman post-match because why not? Wardlow defeated Inaction with 4 power bombs. And then Spears. And that's how you do Inaction. Wardlow is turning into my favorite wrestler in AEW. But he is getting a lot of inaction matches every single week, and that's just funny. Like, okay, Wardlow again. Like, we know what he's gonna do. Like, it's fun, but like, okay. We have New Year's Smash coming up this tomorrow night, Wednesday night. We have a 6-man tag. John Smith. You got Eddie Kingston, Santana, and Ortiz against Danny Garcia and 2.0. Again, they should just put a Smitty on the line here. Is this an early candidate for match of the year for AEW for the Smitty?
Is it happening after the first?
Okay, I stand corrected. No, you're right.
Yeah, give me. This is hard. Actually, give me 2.0 and Garcia.
Are they going to start winning eventually, Gary? Like 2.0, everybody's rules. Like these guys just don't seem to win, and I guess their job's not to win. But maybe can they sneak one here? Like
no, as much as I agree with John on his Cody Rhodes take all the time, I'm going to disagree here and say that Eddie's team are going to go over in that. So.
Can we get Jack Stars involved and call him 3.0? Like that would be incredible. John DeConnie.
Yeah, I think once again Eddie and Santana and Ortiz will take this one. I think if there's going to be a win, it'll be when Garcia faces Kingston 1-on-1. So give me Kingston and Santana Ortiz.
God. I do believe that they won. Actually, I should say that they won wasn't there a 5-man match last week, a 10-man tag that they were teaming with the Acclaimed and that they won? Yeah, so I'll go Kingston, Santana, Ortiz on that one. They're all New Yorker guys, too. That's going to be fun. Ruby Soho defeated Nyla Rose with a riot kick to advance to the final of the AEW TBS Championship Tournament. The other semifinal, Thunder Rosa and Jade Cargill, Gary. This is going to be a tough out. This is a tough out. Both of these women, it's a Jade. She doesn't work longer than 3 minutes. She doesn't get paid by the hour.
Yeah, I know. It's one of those ones, actually, when I saw the match was coming up, I looked at it and thought, ooh, but on everything, I am a Thunder Rosa fan and everything I've seen of her. And it's just one of those ones where, much like when, like, if Drew comes up with WWE pay-per-view, I can never pick against him, even if, regardless of what I think.
Yeah.
And she's another one. Every time I see Thunder Rosa, I go, no, I think she'll take it. So I'm going Thunder Rosa. All
right, John DeConnie, she's by far the better wrestler than Jade Cargill. Where are they going with this? Like, I can see all 3 of these women now winning this title. I mean, I think Ruby was a lock to get there over Nyla, but this is tough. And then even picking the final is going to be tough.
Yeah, I think the only thing that comes to mind here is that Thunder Rosa belongs in the AEW Women's World Title picture. Yeah. So maybe Hayter and the Rebel, do something to cost Thunder Rosa the match here, which is why I'm going to take Jade Cargill, and then Thunder Rosa goes back to feuding with Britt Baker.
Yeah, so we saw that feud, but it wasn't for the title yet, John Smith. I kind of like that, and it saves Jade. I guess Jade could win this whole thing.
Yeah, I got Jade winning this one, definitely.
Okay, I got a question for you. Okay, so the one thing I love about AEW is professional wrestling. Damn it. It's not that sports entertainment BS. It's professional wrestling in the way it should be. So Adam Cole and Orange Cassidy started their match fighting over whose hands are getting put into whose pockets. Here's the serious question, though, okay? So, if you take Orange Cassidy in this gimmick right now, John Smith, if you put him on Monday Night Raw, is he the most hated wrestler in professional wrestling? If he is a WWE guy and specifically on Raw? Because apparently everyone likes SmackDown, everyone likes NXT, but when they see red, they hate it. So, would AEW fans hate Orange Cassidy if he was on Raw?
I think so, but I also think Vince would make him keep his hands in his pockets the entire match.
Like, if Orange Cassidy was taking Adam Cole's hand and trying to put him in Cassidy's pockets like they did to start that match, sports entertainment, if that was on Raw, they would get killed.
Absolutely.
Okay. Adam Cole defeated Orange Cassidy after interference from Kyle O'Reilly. So the transition, they got 3 out of the 4. We just need Roddy over there. Allowing Adam Cole to hit the last shot. Bobby Fish came out as well, as did the Young Bucks, who were befuddled. Befuddled. That was that look. I know that look. That O'Reilly was there, and actually it really was kind of awkward how like Cole was talking to the Bucks, but O'Reilly and Fish were still just like staring at the hard cam. That was weird. But it doesn't look like Adam Cole clued in the Young Bucks that were that Kyle O'Reilly was jumping ship. So real quick, just take a look, because we haven't really looked at this often. I typed up the AEW roster. As you can see, Kyle O'Reilly was added. I think that's him on the bottom. I know the male wrestlers are on the left. Female wrestlers are on the right. You can see the Young Bucks down there at the bottom. But they are going to have a 6-man tag team match. It's going to be best friends with Orange Cassidy going against the original members of the Undisputed Era in AEW. Undisputed is all elite. All elite is undisputed. Gary, what's the phrase here?
Yeah, I mean, it was fun, right? Because like right at the end of the show, I was sitting watching it, going, I would have laughed if they'd thrown up the Undisputed Era hand signal just at the end when they stood there. I would have popped for that, to be fair. But yeah, I mean, I would imagine, I'm not a massive Orange Cassidy fan. I'm not going to try and pretend that I am, but I will happily say that Undisputed, or whatever we're actually going to call them, will go over in it. So,
James Wheeler, John Smith, he's calling for Red Dragon, which was Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly's name in Ring of Honor. And they can totally use that. Cold on a pole match.
As long as it's not a pull in a Cole match, then we're all good.
Pull up a Cole.
Pull in a Cole. Give me the Undisputed Era in this one. Good to see them back together.
That's right, the Undisputed Era. John the Con.
Roddy was never part of it anyway.
Yeah, I have to agree here. Cole still hasn't taken a loss yet, right? So I have no reason to do it here.
Okay, so we're gonna make.
He lost with the Young Bucks at the pay-per-view, but he didn't take the pin.
Yeah, he didn't take the pin
in that Falls Count Anywhere match with Christian and I forget who else.
Yeah,
Jurassic Express. Yeah. Yeah, that was after Adam Cole took 7 concertos and did not miss any time. Anyway, making the switch to NXT 2.0, big main event, Pete Dunne and Tony D'Angelo, John Con. Hey.
Pete Dunne versus the Walking Stereotype. Tony D attempted to use that.
Good name for the team. Hold on. Good name for the team.
There you go.
Dispute.
So Tony would attempt to use that crowbar again that he used inside of War Games, and it was a swing and a miss. And then although he would hook Dunne up for his finisher, that fisherman's roll the dice. I don't know what the hell you want to call it. But Dunne escaped it and transitioned right into the bitter end for the 1-2-3. D'Angelo would attack him right after the match once again, and he would get that fisherman's neck breaker on the floor and then slam Dunne's wrist with the crowbar as the show ends across the announce table. So I don't know if Mr. Dunne will be breaking any fingers anytime soon with his hand in a cast.
Yep. Tommaso Ciampa started the show in ring, inviting Braun Breaker to the ring. He tells Braun he's earned the title match at New Year's Evil, but he's still not ready. It's too much too soon for Braun, and he's going to fail again. Unfortunate foreshadowing. Grizzled Young Veterans and the Creed brothers ended in no contest due to Jacket Time getting involved. They were on, doing Japanese commentary with their own table. And I do believe I heard an Indeed in there, too. I'm not positive. I'm going to look forward to that. Possibly do that again. And then eventually Briggs and Jensen again. So these 4 teams have just been at it. It's almost like they're trying to go for Imperium, but like Imperium doing a thing with MSK. So they're going to be, I guess, Riddle. I guess this whole Scooters thing with Riddles and MSK. They're going to be calling out Imperium tonight. So fun. Actually, 6 tag teams in the tag team division. It's a little unheard of. I like this. I like the way it's going. John Smith, match after your own heart in the female division. Io Shirai, Elektra Lopez.
Yeah, so we got Zoe and Io backstage or going to the trainer's room or whatever, and then Wild and Mendoza come in and say they're the superstars. They should be going on the table first, blah, blah, blah. Then Io starts screaming at them in a way that I wish she would scream at me. And then Elektra Lopez splits in between them, and she comes up and basically tells Io she's not afraid of her and that she challenges her to a match later on. So then I paused and got the baby oil that come back. And we got Elektra Lopez versus Io. Not much of a match. I mean, Elektra held her own against the former champion, but it was all about Zion Quinn coming out. He came out with a mistletoe in his hand. Got attacked from behind by Legato, disposed of them real quickly. Went up to the apron, held the mistletoe up. Elektra Lopez got close to him. Not like she was going to kiss him or anything, but she was just like aggravated with his presence there. And then Santos rips him off the apron, throws him into the steps. Or, no, gets thrown into the steps. Zion Quinn reversed it. Elektra Lopez is now distracted, gets a nice little punch to the face and a moonsault for the loss. And, not sure where they're going with this Zion and Elektra thing, but I like it.
Yeah, it's intriguing. It's something different each and every week, so it's actually been kind of fun. Idris Anafe, who we've been taking shots at recently, can't beat Boa, couldn't beat Solo Sikoa, which unfortunately you're not supposed to beat those guys when you're brand new. He can beat Von Wagner in under a minute. So good for Idris Anafe. Von Wagner was not happy though. I think I took that picture down because I needed the room. Yeah, no Von Wagner. In his Halloween costume. He was not happy. He beat the holy hell out of Anafe post-match all over the place. Robert Stone on hand to witness the entire thing. So I guess if you're going to do something with these guys, I guess put them together. I guess if Von really can't talk, Robert Stone can. So good for him. Again, how Robert Stone surviving these cuts as well. That's a pretty interesting question. But, he can talk. He's a good mouthpiece.
We still haven't gotten Roderick, or what's his name again?
Malcolm Bivens.
Malcolm Bivens, yeah, versus him. So that's what we need first. Robert Stone versus Malcolm Bivens in some sort of Extreme Rules match.
Dexter Lumis defeated Trick Williams with silence. Post-match attack by Grayson Waller on Dexter, who's looking to take apart the remaining members of the Way. He had a run-in with Indy Hartwell in the back. So Dexter Lumis and Grayson Waller, they're going to get out tonight before we pick that match, though. After all that was said and done, here comes AJ Styles with Grayson Waller. So they had a back and forth. AJ Styles, as we breaking news from James Wheeler last week. AJ Styles is going to appear on NXT, but we will get to more into that because Grayson Waller showed up last night on Raw, so to be continued with that. But right now, Grayson Waller's got Dexter Lumis, John Smith tonight.
Yeah, these two look like they could be brothers. I'm going with I'll go Grayson Waller. Maybe some interference by Carmelo and his sidekick. I forgot his name.
Trick Williams.
Trick Williams.
Dexter Lumis silenced last week, Gary. Like I said, they're going to have a contract. That match is made official not tonight, but next Tuesday night at New Year's Eve. There'll be a champ. I don't know if it's going to be unification, but it's going to be title for title. Ripping off Hogan Warrior all those years ago. Here we go again. Roddy Strong, Carmelo Hayes. So I got Grayson in this one. That there's just too much push right now, I guess.
Yeah, and I noticed that Grayson's actually opening up NXT. They've just sent out a message as well because apparently everybody's talking about him. So ironically, given that, I'm going to say Dexter Lumis because I would say I think there'd be some sort of interference, whether it's AJ coming back again to do something and distract him or whatever.
AJ's coming back again. John DeConnie.
I'm going to go with Waller just because it feels like they're definitely putting him front and center. Second maybe only to Braun Breaker at this point. So give me Waller in this one.
Yeah, quick shout out to Grayson Waller coming like this far, getting pushed this much already. Remember, was it a month ago when 2.0 started? He was a joke with Drake Maverick. Like he was the joke with Drake Maverick. Like that's how bad. So shout out for him from getting out of that real quick and then getting to something big. The show opened with an unbelievable street fight that. It didn't start. It just started in the back. I believe it's coming across the bottom right now. Raquel Gonzalez got the job done over Dakota Kai. I think this feud's finally over. 6 minutes 21 seconds, John Lecani. But I think the first 20 of it unofficially backstage, and they just beat the holy hell out of each other. Absolutely amazing. Post match, Raquel grabbed the microphone. She wants Mandy Rose. Here comes Cora Jade on the most adorable little skateboard ever. She wants Mandy Rose too, and then we all want Mandy Rose in the bikini on the Titantron with the NXT Women's Championship. Who's actually granting both of them the championship match at New Year's Evil. So we have a triple threat match slated for next Tuesday night. But in the meantime, we're going to have Raquel Gonzalez and Cora Jade, who in that promo got jumped by Gigi and JC, the women's tag team champions, John Lecani. I believe this is probably non-title, but it's going to be Raquel and Cora versus Toxic Attraction.
Yeah, assuming that it remains non-title, I'll say Raquel and Cora win it. And, just backing up just a few seconds, just that wonderful moment when Mandy Rose granted a three-way. It was a magical moment.
Oh, the light shined upon Gary.
Yeah, no, I'm with John on the assumption that it does stay no contest. I'm going to say that Cora Jade may well not. Well, she might well get the pin, but their team will definitely win. I would say if it stays non-title. So.
All right, John Smith.
I'm going with the champs on this one because I only got 1 week to build some tension between Raquel and Cora going into that three-way match. So maybe a slip up, Cora hits Raquel with the skateboard in some fashion, something like that. Yeah.
I like that. I'll go with that one. You win. There we go. So that will go for tonight on NXT. Quick recap of Friday Night SmackDown that was on Christmas Eve. Fun little, it was actually a really good episode of SmackDown for those who, I'm sure I was busy with Christmas Eve, but I'm sure if you went back and watched the replay, unbelievable show. We started with the SmackDown Women's Championship. Charlotte Flair defeated Toni Storm by reversing a small package into another Raw roll-up to retain the SmackDown Women's title. Tony visibly upset by the loss, so maybe to be continued with this, I don't know. But Charlotte, unfortunately, I thought we were going to get another Christmas Day miracle out of SmackDown. Didn't exactly get it. John Lecani, I'm going to cut you off just for time restraints here. Sami Zayn wins the 12 Days of Christmas Gauntlet. He was the last entry in the Gauntlet, which is always the best way to win a Gauntlet. He last defeated Ricochet, and now Sami Zayn will challenge for the Intercontinental Championship. Not sure if that's going to be at day one. But it will be upcoming. Sammy got the shot.
I think Sammy needs to start using the F5.
That would work out so well.
But he never pins anybody with it because he's not Brock Lesnar.
There you go. Real quick on Raw, John Lecani was it you? No, John Smith. You were the one that wanted this. Okay, so we're gonna go back to AJ Styles. He was in an in-ring promo going about Armas, and then here we go again with Grayson Waller.
Yeah, Grayson Waller started some crap with him last week on Twitter, saying something about his mom haircut and this and that. So AJ decided to confront him at NXT. Simple back and forth promo between the two of them. Nothing crazy, no pipe bombs were dropped, no real life things. So not really sure what to think of this. And then when we get to Raw, he's talking crap about Omos, AJ is, and then Grayson Waller's in the stands with a sign. I've done something about the Grayson Waller effect. I don't know why you think that's going to catch on, but AJ invites him into the ring, and then they have another little back and forth until we get Apollo coming out to interrupt them because I guess they had a scheduled match or something. But also AJ got challenged by Aziz, and then we get back from commercial break, and it's Apollo versus AJ Styles. somehow, some way. They just like explained it away, real quick with the commentary, but I don't know why the hell that happened. What I'm thinking is that AJ versus Aziz probably didn't go too well, so they just cut that because it was pre-taped a week earlier, so they decided to maybe have another match between him and Apollo or something. But that match went pretty well. We got 10 minutes of solid wrestling, nothing crazy, and then a nice little styles clash on Apollo, who didn't really know how to take it at first. It looked like he was about to trip AJ, and they were about to get his neck broken before AJ hit the move on him. But then we get a nice beat down by Aziz and Apollo after the fact.
Yeah, I'm glad actually they gave Apollo Crews 10 minutes on that one. We haven't seen Apollo in a while. Him and his metallic green ensemble and all that glory. Wonderful shade of green. So good for him that he's still going. Dolph Ziggler defeated Damian Priest in the United States Championship match via disqualification because Priest continued to punch Ziggler in the corner past the referee's 5 count. Post-match, Priest hit Ziggler with the Reckoning on the outside as he did to Bobby Roode the week prior. So look for this again for the United States Championship coming up because there just has not been a definitive outcome yet. And also in a mixed tag team match, Reggie and Dana Brooke defeated R-Truth and Tamina after Reggie pinned Truth, which looked like a packaged tombstone. John Licani, is that a good way of describing that? It was like a packaged up tombstone. He got him from the front.
Yeah, somewhere between that and an inverted Canadian destroyer because he kind of did it from underneath. Yeah,
exactly. We got a comment coming in. No, that's not. Well, the good news is W ripped off Hook. Where we go? What are we saying? W ripped off Ada by Hook by tweeting "Send fear" on Twitter. Oh, gotcha.
That's all WWE does is rip off AEW, right?
That's it. I'm shocked WWE still. The only reason why they're still in business is because they keep on copying. So we're going to shift. We're going to go right into making our picks for day 1 on January 1st. A Saturday night pay-per-view, a little odd, coming from WWE. Here are our standings going into it. Ryan Joy has the overall lead at about 100 points over me. Followed closely by John Licani, John Smith, a little bit of a train wreck there, then Gary right behind. In WWE standings, Maggie May Joy absolutely kicking the crap out of all of us. She still has not had double-digit losses, so I don't plan on that happening. I guess either time soon. She's not going to get 4 wrong on a 7-match card here. Standard scoring for day 1, 5 points for the WWE Universal title matches, 3 points for all other title matches, 1 point for the non-title matches. You get everything right, you get a bonus 5 points. So this is going to get a little tricky. A lot of rumors and speculations. Where is he? A lot of rumors and speculations. WWE's having COVID issues, as we saw last night on Raw. Seth Rollins, Big E, shot promos from their homes. Bobby Lashley was nowhere to be found. Grayson Waller showed up out of nowhere. I believe that was not originally supposed to plan. It's a rumor they were supposed to be calling stuff, whatever. Kevin Owens was there, though. He did an in-ring promos interrupted by MVP, and eventually the Hurt Business, Cedric and Sheldon. They want to get back together. They're going to make an example out of KO, but Kevin Owens got the job done. He defeated Cedric Alexander, so good to see him back. Right now, we have a fatal 4-way scheduled. Like I said, 3 of these guys were not at TV yesterday, so they have a couple days for them, I guess, to do the testing and whatever they need to have done to make this match happen. But if this match happens and all 4 are available, Gary, who are you thinking here?
I went back and forward between 2. I was sitting looking at Big E and looking at Lashley going, okay, they're going to go one of these 2 ways. But I have decided I'm going to stick rather than twist, and I'm going to say Big E to retain.
Okay. John Licani.
This is such a hard one to pick because I really can make a legitimate argument for anyone. Like I feel like they're probably going to let Big E retain because it's a nice resume builder for him to beat 3 former WWE and or Universal champions. But I, a little while ago, said that I thought Bobby Lashley was going to take this title back from Big E and carry it into WrestleMania. So do I go to Bobby Lashley? you can never go wrong picking Rollins in a big spot. But because it's only worth 5 points, and I would absolutely kick myself if it happened and I didn't pick it, I'm going to go with the man who just re-signed a contract, and we know contracts often come with guaranteed championships involved. So give me KO taking home to add his name to that illustrious list of 53, 4, however many people it is.
Yeah.
Kevin Owens, new WWE champion.
John Smith, James Wheeler's going with either Big E or Kevin Owens. Way to make a decision, James. Might turn back to a triple threat match after test that's positive. John Smith, who do you got?
I think it's still going to be a 4-way match, and I definitely got Big E retaining on this one. He hasn't had a legit. I mean, he beat Drew McIntyre, but then he got crushed by Roman Reigns at Survivor Series. So I don't think he's had enough title defenses to make his reign legit. So I think they're going to give him this one.
I'm going to go with Big E as well, only because, like I said, this is just I guess this is filling in for TLC. I guess we didn't get TLC this year.
Right.
I guess you can't have TLC.
Royal Rumble Fastlane.
Yeah. The Royal Rumble's right around the corner. I think the title change will happen there and not here. So I will go with Big E. And John Connie, just to be, like I said, I know I don't like to talk religion here, but I'll be contrarian for a second, and I'm gonna go with Seth Rollins. Actually, going to be the guy that beats Big E for the title. On SmackDown this past Friday, there was a Miracle on 34th Street fight. Nice pun for Christmas. Drew McIntyre and the New Day defeated Madcap Moss and the Usos. Those are just couple. This is like a little old school, where you combine the matches and then they separate. So the first match we're going to talk about, Gary, are you going to give Madcap a chance here? Look at that smiling face, though. He is just.
I mean, as I said earlier on, I can never pick against Drew, and I think let's be perfectly fair. I'm not intending to here either. Although I will say I could see Corbin get involved and giving Madcap the win to kind of lead that match, but no, I would imagine that Drew's going to take it. So,
yeah, John Smith, this is almost too obvious to the point where I'm actually afraid to take McIntyre. This is.
Yeah, I kind of felt the same way when I first saw it, but I don't think. I think it's like the victory for Madcap Moss is having a match with Drew McIntyre on a pay-per-view. So you got to go with Drew on this one.
John Connie.
Yeah, I'm going to say that Madcap Moss himself is a joke, and Drew McIntyre will take this one.
I'm going to go with McIntyre, too. Just it's the obvious thing. I think this is going to be the match that's going to ruin everybody's perfect pay-per-view. That's pretty much what it's going to come down to. Also, in that street fight, like I said, the New Day and the Usos, again, this is probably the 75th time they fought, and it's been 74 5-star matches so far. I'm sure this one will not disappoint, John DeConnie.
Yeah, exactly. You show me a match between these two that hasn't been good, and I'll show you a match I guess I haven't seen. But because the New Day has been getting the best of them recently in all the gimmick matches and preview matches, I'm assuming that the Usos will retain at day one.
I completely agree, Gary.
This is one of the ones that you say matches are going to ruin the possibility. This is going to be mine because I've gone New Day just because of other matches that have gone where I don't think titles will change. I was going, do you know what? They'll do something, and I think it'll feed into the Roman and Brock match later on. So I'm actually going to go New Day.
All right, John Smith.
Yeah, I'm sticking with the Bloodline. If the New Day were on the same show as Big E, then maybe then they would all have the belts at the same time, kind of thing. But I'm going with the Usos here, the greatest tag team of all time.
Okay, RK Bro. They had singles matches against the Alpha Academy this last night on Raw. Riddle defeated Chad Gable with the floating bro. RKO defeated Otis after Otis missed with the Vader bomb, and then Randy sprung up at the RKO. Meanwhile, the Street Profits, finally, we got this match. Defeated the Mysterios in the finals of the RK Bro tournament. So, RK Bro against the Street Profits, John Smith.
Oh, man. This one's tough. Is this where the split happens? I don't think so. I'm going to say the champs retain. Give me RK Bro.
All right, I'm going to go RK Bro as well, John McConney.
Yeah, make it 3. I'm going with RK Bro.
Gary?
Yeah, full sweep. I'm going to go RK Bro as well.
Yeah, it just seems like the story's with the Alpha Academy right now. It has nothing to do with the street, but that wouldn't make sense to me. Whatever. Miz and Maurice's vow renewal ceremony that main evented Raw last night. How adorable was that? Interrupted by Edge, of course, who wanted to embarrass them before their match at Day 1. Cue the Brood music. Cue the Brood bath. Maurice was beside herself that her special day was ruined. Edge is in for a problem. The Miz has got a plan here, boys. Miz has got a plan. Gary.
Yeah, I mean, I know that there's been a lot of talk of a mixed tag program coming out of this with Beth coming down. And that's why I kind of went back and forward. But I've actually gone Edge to take it, and then something will happen after the match to lead into it. So I'm going to say Edge to win.
Okay, James Wheeler going Edge as well, John Smith.
Yeah, the Miz is not the guy you do the favors for. Give me Edge.
All right, John DeConnie.
Yes, I have to concur. Give me Edge in this one.
Well, looks like your pay-per-views are going to be ruined otherwise. Even if McIntyre wins, all you guys are going to have your perfect pay-per-view ruined. All right. Lone Wolf, as they would say on, was that Fantasy Live? I'm going to Lone Wolf this thing. Becky Lynch did an in-ring promo. I didn't really fast-forward that just because I was short on time. These girls, they fought for the Raw Women's Championship a couple of weeks ago. Main evented Raw. Becky Lynch pulled out the same move she did to Liv as she did at the Survivor Series, which beat Charlotte. Roll up, hooking the ropes for extra leverage when the referee doesn't see it. Becky called out Liv, John Smith, because Liv she doesn't have that mentality, the cheat mentality. She just doesn't have. So is this where is Becky just going to keep on doing it again, or are we going to get a different side of Liv here, and we bring this belt finally home to New Jersey?
I don't think Liv is winning the belt. I do see a way where she might win the match, though. So, but I'm going to go with Becky, though. But, I mean, I could totally see Liv winning by DQ or Becky just walking away like the cowardly champion.
Oh, that could be too. Okay. James Wheeler's going to go nuts if Liv wins. But Becky Lynch does go, yeah, well, she does live with Seth Rollins, John Connie.
Yeah, I feel like if they were going to do the switch, I mean, I was so dry. I didn't think there was any chance Liv was winning. As much as I would love it, I didn't think there was any chance Liv was winning. And then she was so emotional going into that match on Raw a couple of weeks ago that I was like, oh my God, she knows something we don't. It's going to happen. Here's where it's going to happen. Yep. And then when it didn't, I just don't see it happening. So give me Becky retaining.
All right, Gary.
Don't worry, James Wheeler. I'm about to make your night. I've got Liv Morgan to take it. I'm holding it for a month. I know that Becky wanted to work with her and stuff before she left, a month like for when she came back. So I'm going to say Liv to take the title, but probably lose it again at the Rumble.
I got to live on this one too. I'm all in on this. There's no way I'm betting against her at this point in time. No way. Like this is, I would kill myself. I'd kick myself. Excuse me. Kick myself if I bet against her and she wins the title. And then everything going on with Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman did an interview with Caleb at the start of SmackDown. Paul doesn't regret telling the truth to Roman. That's what Roman hired him to do. Gary, this is again, this is the multiple time, probably maybe the 10th time these guys have fought on pay-per-view. Brock's won a majority of them, so.
Yeah, it's one of these ones that you do look at and go, oh, there's so many ways that can go out of it. And the talk is they're going to be at Mania potentially again. So because of that, I know Heyman will get involved somehow, but I'm going to say Roman to retain, and then they'll build up with maybe Brock in the Rumble or whatever, but I'm going to say Roman to win.
Roman for the win. John Smith.
Oh, man, this one's tough, too. I almost want to say no contest. Just because it's not a major pay-per-view either, and they can totally get away with it. Yeah, you know what? I'm going no contest on this one.
Okay, now, no contest how? Because I'm thinking 60-minute time limit draw.
Oh, man, do I have to specify?
No, you don't. I just want to
we're definitely not getting this. We're not getting this for 60 minutes unless it's an Iron Man match.
Oh, imagine. Oh, my God. Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns for 60 minutes, John McConney.
Oh, yes, imagine, because that's the only way it can happen. I think this whole I'm assuming that this whole firing of Heyman is a setup here for Heyman to come kind of meandering his way out in the middle of this match, and Brock thinks he's there to help him, and he winds up sticking the dagger in Brock's back, and he's really been with Roman all along and helps Roman retain.
All right, James Wheeler bringing up a fun point here. Sami Zayn? Has he got the balls to interfere in this match?
Only if that's going to lead to Sammy and Brock taking the tag titles off of the Usos and carrying them to WrestleMania when Brock and Roman hook up again.
Paul Heyman, when he got fired, the thing that he said was, I'm not trying to protect Brock Lesnar from you. I'm trying to protect you from Brock Lesnar. Heyman is going to get involved. He's going to get Roman disqualified. So I got Brock Lesnar winning via disqualification.
Okay.
So that will do it with our day one picks. Gentlemen, I think that's a great card. If this card stays the way it is, 7 matches, and I hope it does, this should be an outstanding card for New Year's Day. Unfortunately, going up against a pretty big bowl game, but hopefully people will find a way to watch both. So that's going to bring us to our closing arguments and our special guest who's been sitting backstage patiently, waiting, judging us on our every move. He is our boss, but let's give him where's the – I went the wrong way here. There we go. Primetime Rundown is on Friday nights on all of these Eastern Observer channels. Join Joey Jarzanka, who is our guest, Ian Schreier, Rob DeLuca, Friday night, 7 o'clock. All the information on the wide world of sports, please go to theeasternobserver.com. Ladies and gentlemen, Joseph Kennedy Jarzanka. Joey, thank you so much. So
well, it's very funny. It's very funny because, when you told me how this whole introduction was going to come about, I was going to ask you, I was going to say, I kind of consider myself like the Buffer brothers. I was hoping maybe something along those lines, but I'll consider that a compliment. That's pretty good, fellas. I like that. Thank you, Al.
Yeah, not a problem. The host will say, we've been doing this you know what? We don't have the nameplates on it. Let's try this out.
That's completely
let's get everybody up. That's better. There we go. We've been doing this promotional thing between the Central Wrestling Podcast and the Eastern Observer with the Survivor Pool picking one team a week each week to win a football game in a little Survivor Pool that we've been doing. So here from our end, we actually had a pretty good week. A lot of guys were on your Eagles, Joe. John DeConnie, Ryan George, Travis Severance. I had the Kansas City Chiefs in my back pocket. I pulled them out and they ran over the Steelers. John Smith, the Chargers. That was not a bad pick. Where the hell did the Texans come from? Tyler again. Where the F is Tyler? I guess maybe that should be our next question. Gary, I guess he's being cute. He picked John Smith and Jeff lost. So.
Well, if he had picked my fantasy football teams, then he would have won 3 times.
You see,
so
you could have done that, or Al. I mean, listen, Gary. I guess Manchester wasn't really doing it for you.
Yeah, not the way they've been playing this week.
I think he had already picked Manchester, so he couldn't pick them again.
That's true.
Exactly.
I was left scraping the bottom of the barrel, so I had to go with John.
So with that, let's take a look at the overall scoreboard between the Eastern Observer. Between the Primetime Rundown and this. Oh, there it is again. Mr. Jarzanka, I apologize again. I'm sorry, I hit the wrong. I'm sorry. I don't know who's been doing that. But Joe, I know that you actually, like in our email chain and whatnot, you credit the ties for a loss. I just kept them as ties, and it's a good thing I did because you have jumped up now to 4th place in your respective division over Casey Bryan and Mike Szabo.
Yeah, it's crazy to see how much I would call it effort. I guess that I've put in over the last couple of weeks because if you kind of just put in even one little shred of effort, you might actually win something, or you could be like Tyler where you don't show up at all and you'll be getting the last place trophy. And surprisingly, I think what we're coming down to, I think Tyler actually might be just behind Gary. I think Gary even has a win because Tyler doesn't have any. He'll be getting that last place trophy, and I am going to be glad to give that to him either virtually or even in person because
you can give him 2, Joe, if you want. You can give him 2 if you want.
It's everywhere. Look, he's in the double digits. It's brutal. What a disaster. But all of your picks, fellas, listen, I was listening before. I hope that, all of you guys, since you guys all picked the same, it all doesn't backfire because, sometimes it's happened with you guys. The Primetime Rundown has moved up a couple of rungs in the standings when you guys, kind of all pick the same team together, if you will. And we'll see if that happens this week.
No, it was not going to happen for me. I know a lot of people, I think, have already picked the Patriots. I got New England. I guess they got the Jags this week, so I'm not really exactly all that afraid of Trevor Lawrence at the moment. Joe? Anything speak out to you? Like, what are you thinking for your pick this week?
Well, I will tell you. I will actually tell you my pick, and my pick is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers over John Smith's New York Jets. And that is the wise pick because, every time I go against the Jets, they usually win. And that's probably what's going to happen this week. And I think, John, the last time that you went against your New York Jets, they won.
Yeah, the Bengals.
I was 8-0 in this whole thing, and then I picked the Jets, and ever since then, I'm now 10-6.
Yeah, the Bengals.
Yep, ever since the Bengals lost to the Jets.
Gary, who's your football pick of the week? I saw you were watching a game earlier in pre-production.
Yeah, I was the Liverpool Leicester match was on. I was doing that. I have to say, I was talking to the guys earlier on. There's so many friends of mine who are Green Bay Packers fans. So every match, to be fair, I don't care who the Packers are. I'm like, yeah, go Pack, great. So there's so many friends of mine across in the Milwaukee sort of way, or Chicago way. They're all Packers fans. So.
All right, now I want to kind of split this up between the Johns and Joe. If you want to chime in as well as our guest, you're more than welcome to. Now, at the beginning of the season, not only with the Survivor pool that we are doing, we also made some predictions that you posted online. We haven't talked about them really since. So before I throw it to you, Joe, John DeConnie, here's who we picked to win the Super Bowl amongst us. And also the conference, like who they beat in the Super Bowl. So pretty much our Super Bowl match, the 2 conference champions. We're all still in this. Right? Everybody that's picked the team, even the losing teams, like even with Larry Park right there in the top left corner, the Packers over the Bills. Both teams are in the playoffs right now if it started today. So, John DeConnie, how's this looking right now?
I mean, I'm not thrilled about the way Buffalo has played here and there, but this has been a year unlike maybe any I've ever seen in my lifetime, where there is not a single team in the entire league that I feel that going out this weekend, it's a 100% lock that they're going to win, because everyone has taken a terrible loss at some point in time this year.
Yep.
So I'm still good rolling with Buffalo, but if they turn around and or first round out to a wild card team, would I be surprised? Not this year.
Now, Joe, anything here stick out with you? You had the Bills as well, but you said you get a lot of Chiefs, a lot of Bucks. I went with my homer pick with Joe. I sent you the email before week 1. I told you how the Patriots and the Buccaneers season were going to go, and this is how this was going to happen. Right now, it's kind of playing out true to form. But anything stick out here? Is anything you want to maybe change picks? Is anything that you kind of see?
No, I stand by my Buffalo pick, which I know will definitely falter. But, Al, at one point, looking at your pick, I remember seeing it and I was like, okay, Al is definitely just being biased. But all of a sudden, when Mac Jones has completely taken this, has taken the bull by the horn, he has completely come out and has looked like this professional, 10-year veteran that has taken everything by storm. And I find it truly amazing that your pick is still alive, Al. It really is. And that is the one that stands out to me because, the Green Bay Packers, of course, you kind of had a feeling it was going to go either way with Larry Protakowitz going Green Bay there. A lot of us taking Buffalo, a lot of us taking Kansas City. It's Kansas City started off, I think it was like 1-3 or 1-4 or something, or 2-4, whatever it was. And now they've won 7 or 8 straight. So they've now found their groove. But exactly what JD did say, John DeConnie, you said that not a single team really has or really is a lock heading into any single week. And right now, what we're seeing is exactly that. It's really crazy. I mean, look, you saw what Mike Szabo picked, or who he picked last week. He picked Seattle, and Nick Foles, John DeConnie, your Chicago Bears. They came back and won by 1 point. Amazing stuff.
I would have changed that pick right away once Foles was named the starter. But so you got the teams. The Kansas City Chiefs, they started off slow. They picked it up. Patriots started slow. They picked it up. They kind of tailed off a little bit. Miami Dolphins last night, the first team ever. They lost 7 games. Now they won 7 games. And even a team like the Jaguars, they completely doubled their win output from last year. They have 2 wins this year. Unbelievable by the Jaguars. Hashtag all elite. We're gonna before we get to who we picked for the MVP categories, we're just gonna take a quick trip into fantasy land, and you'll see the transitions here in a second. We had a big matchup last week, Joe Jarzenga in the Ham and Eggers pool, run by John DeConnie. Between me and him, and I guess I'll let the cat out of the bag, my team was Evolution, if you didn't notice off the top of my head. I kind of steamrolled over John DeConnie, had a great team all year. They just didn't show up last week, so I will be representing, I guess, the Essential Wrestling Podcast in the Ham and Eggers final going against, I guess, our number 1 seed got upset last night, too, because of Jalen Waddle, who completely tore it up and eliminated me from John Smith's pool. And here is John Smith's team that is going to be going into the championship game. John Smith going for his first ever league championship. And if you look at that team, a lot of those guys he drafted, Travis Kelce was a keeper. Who did you? And that's why I kind of want to make this transition here, John Smith, because you traded your first round draft pick in next year's draft for Jonathan Taylor. Yep. Now, if we bring up who we picked as the most valuable player at the beginning of the season, there's Mahomes. There's Rodgers. I picked Brady, even Lamar Jackson. It's going to be Jonathan Taylor. We're all wrong here.
Pretty much.
Yeah, it is. I didn't even think about that, but it's pretty much got to be him at this point. No, you know what? It's going to be Aaron Rodgers because they always give it to a quarterback. And Jonathan Taylor's not going to hit that magic like 2,000 yards, I don't think. So I still think it's more likely that Aaron Rodgers gets it, but I wouldn't be surprised if Taylor did.
Yeah, but it seems like a lot of these guys, like even Mahomes is picking up. It's been a lot of ups and downs. I mean, I don't want to, you can't kill Aaron Rodgers just for that one bad week on week 1 where he got killed. But I just think it's funny. Jonathan Taylor, the guy that you specifically went out of your way to trade for. I traded mine for Najee Harris. He didn't really get to show up this weekend either. But unfortunately, like I said, some bad managerial decisions from my end. I'm not going to be playing you in the R League Championship. So good luck to you. Good luck to Danny, who was the one that beat me. Joe Jarzenga, any comments on the MVP conversation? Can Jonathan Taylor win this?
I think he can. And I want to just piggyback to the trade that you brought up with John Smith. Al, if you can just bring up that team once again for John Smith, because that is truly remarkable. First off, the picture's fantastic. Tom Brady, Jonathan Taylor, Cooper Kupp. Listen, in my fantasy league, I had Tom Brady. Jonathan Taylor was on another team. Cooper Kupp was on another team. And I was 10-4, and I pretty much turned out to be like the Arizona Cardinals. I fizzled out completely. I went 7-0, and then I completely blew it. Went 3-4 in the last 7. But this team has championship written all over it. And whoever else is in your league there, they better be doing some more homework come next year, because that is some phenomenal drafting.
You want to know what, though? I had Kelsey was a keeper in the second round, and Keenan Allen was a keeper in the fourth round. I had no first-round pick, because this is what I do. I trade my first-round pick for somebody who's awesome halfway through the season from a crappy team that needs to build for next year. So that way you're not getting screwed out of your first-round pick with your Saquon Barkleys and your hurt Derrick Henrys and all that stuff, and Kamara crap in the bed for you in the playoffs. Right. So, you get the right guy when you trade for him in mid-season, and then people think like, then you only get half a season. But you're guaranteed to have one of the best guys for that number one pick. And Debo was my 8th round pick.
Yeah,
Cooper Kupp was my 5th round pick. Dude, I picked my 3rd round pick was Carson from the Seahawks, and my 6th round pick was Mike Davis. So you don't have to have a great draft. You just need to hit on those few sleepers that aren't first-round picks. Those guys you could get in the 5th, 8th, 10th round. Hunter Renfrow, I picked him up off of free agency after week 3, and halfway through the season, I started starting him, and he's been doing wonders for me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And going back to what Al had said about the MVP, I truly believe that Jonathan Taylor can get that. He's going to be. Or we figure it all depends, obviously, if Carson Wentz can come back from the COVID protocol list. Obviously, they changed all of their guidelines. So now, regardless of vaccination status, he will be able to come back if he, pending symptoms or whatnot, in only 5 days. So that would put him right on Saturday if he can come back. And he might not be, or he might either miss the game, might not miss the game, who knows. But if Carson Wentz does miss the game, I can tell you this much: Jonathan Taylor will be fed the ball as many times as you could think of. And you're going to see, I think, 2,000 yards become a reality if Carson Wentz does not play. And also, we have to realize in the last couple of games that he's played, Wentz has not looked great either. And this is also the time, as an Eagles fan, I can tell you, this is the time where Carson Wentz begins to really either get injured, get a concussion, be out for the season, and absolutely destroy, your hopes and dreams when it comes to a Super Bowl. So, Jonathan Taylor, I give you the MVP right now, because he will be in some Hall of Fame territory with AP, Emmitt Smith, Barry Sanders, all of the above. These, there's I think 10 or 9 guys that are going to have this, and that includes Taylor if he can eclipse that 2,000-yard mark, Al.
Yeah, and if Carson Wentz can't play, I don't know if you said who's playing. Is Curtis Painter still the Colts' backup quarterback?
I want to say definitely not, but
okay.
But what I can tell you is that just by seeing what Frank Reich has done with this entire team, I really don't have any issues with whoever can, will back up Carson Wentz. And it's actually Sam Ehlinger. He is the backup quarterback right now. There's really no other guys that were there. If I'm not mistaken, I think he's out of Texas. He was a Longhorn.
Yeah, that sounds familiar. Yep.
Yeah, so I think he's also a late-round draft pick as well. So we'll see what happens there. But Jonathan Taylor, get ready to be fed the ball, no doubt.
All right, sounds good. Gary, anything you want to throw in about Liverpool before we go to the closing arguments here?
No, I'm just shocked nobody had picked William the Refrigerator Perry to be the big thing coming out, because as far as I could tell, he's like a young up and comer. To be fair,
that's it. He won that battle. It's episode 86. It's the year 1986 at WrestleMania 2. William the Refrigerator Perry winning the Battle Royal. I'm sorry, he was participating in it. Andre won the Battle Royal, but it was the NFL invading WWF at the time. I believe that was in Chicago, too, so we got a huge pop from the crowd. So here we go. So we'll do this one again because I was kind of rolling all over because I was trying to get the No Chance in Hell music ready for Joseph Kennedy Jarzenka. The primetime rundown, powered by StreamYard with Joey Jarzenka, Ian Schreier, and Rob DeLuca, is now airing at 7 p.m. on Friday nights as they take you through the world of sports right here on all of the Eastern Observer platforms. For more information, please go to theeasternobserver.com. And Joe, we have a new site coming soon, correct?
Yeah, there's no doubt. And, the website is it's open now. It's just easternobserver.com. We finally removed because, common sense really didn't click into this brain over here when we designed it. But yes, easternobserver.com. It's a soft open right now, similar to retail, before the big grand open. We're working on it all the time, every single day, to get this up to speed. We can't wait, and I can tell you this much right now: the Essential Wrestling Podcast is, our number one show on the Eastern Observer, and we cannot wait to really blast your show. All you guys have done amazing, and it's going to be blasted on the new site at every which way. It's going to be awesome. Hopefully, we'll have it done by next Monday, but if not, just follow us at Observe Eastern on Twitter and we'll get you all the details. But easternobserver.com, Al, is the new site for all of our.
Yeah, because I had to overemphasize so it just, oh my God, so it comes out like this. So make sure that was a part of the thing. So okay, going forward, the Body Slam Brigade, over 5,000 subscribers, received this weekly column. Make sure you go to minutestobelltime.com to subscribe. The Body Slam Brigade by Ryan, for you, for free, and my fault. Ryan Joy did actually send us his picks for day one. Throw those out here real quick while we're promoting his website. He's going Big E and Roman Reigns to retain, along with Becky Lynch and RKO to retain. He's going to go with the New Day winning the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. The Miz, nice job. And Drew McIntyre, obviously the potential layup pick. We still don't know. That still seems way too obvious for me. The Black Cats NYC, their new album over a year. Their album, Free Cake. Keep on going with their new album, but it's been out for over a year now. If you anywhere you get your music, any of these platforms, Pandora, Spotify, SoundCloud, anywhere you get your music, you can get the Black Cats NYC's new album, Free Cake. Play it loud, play it now. As always, the Essential Wrestling Podcast is sponsored by Pro Wrestling Pick'em, the internet leader in sports entertainment pick'em pools. Join us in the Essential Wrestling Podcast Pick'em pool to play against us, or you can create a private pool with you and your friends. ProWrestlingPick'em.com. Play against your friends, play against the universe, and guys, she will like it too. Join us back here next week for episode 87. WrestleMania 3 Silverdome. WrestleMania episode 87 at 5 o'clock on all of our viewing options, including our newest option, Odyssey. Am I saying that correct, Joe? Odyssey.
Yeah, it's funny in our last show in the primetime rundown, I accidentally said Audacity. And now that I think back at it, I wouldn't be surprised if Odyssey kicks us off of their platform. So if that happens, I do apologize.
All right, so thank you very much. We're just hovering at the 2-hour mark. I have a train to catch. Everybody enjoy NXT 2.0 tonight. Enjoy the NFL games this weekend. Thank you, Mr. Jarzenka, Joseph Kennedy Jarzenka, the boss of the Eastern Observer. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We appreciate you having on. And on behalf of all of us, we appreciate all the hard work because you are the man behind the scenes. Even though your beautiful face is on air all the time, you are the man behind the scenes pushing us forward, pushing us into the promised land. And for that, we thank you. We hope we just pull our own weight and do our jobs to help make this whole family a success.
There is no doubt, Al, and every single one of you viewing, every single one of you next to me, below me, Happy New Year. Thank you, every single one of you and all of our viewers out there for continuing to believe in Gary Mehaffy's terrible picks.
For Gary Mehaffy, for John Smith, for John DeConnie, for Joseph Kennedy Jarzenka, my name is Al Karl. Thank you so much for watching. Alexa Bliss, we love you. Larry Steve, forever in our hearts. John DeConnie, take us home.
Thanks for joining us. And as always, we wish you the best in all your future endeavors.
Okay, so now looking at this roster again, John Smith, if you can see down on the bottom right corner,